Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan, and this is the Tom Coughlin J Fun Radiothon on 1010XL.
Call 904-207-7070 now. He's Hacker.
So much so that I had to ask around. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of a nice guy, right?
Hacker is an ass.
I try, as I'm getting into my old age at 39 years old, try not to let things bother me. Just know that I'm ultra soft.
And he doesn't shy away from opinions.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on what is always a very special, very emotional day at 1010XL, the Tom Coughlin J Fun Radiothon, the 16th year we have put it on. It started, I think, when we started as a radio station back in 2007. And we have carried it all the way through, and it never ceases to amaze me, the generosity of the good men and women here in Jacksonville, Florida, and the surrounding areas. 16 years, and I have it on good authority, and we're going to bring Tom Champion in right now, that we have set an all-time record for the radio station 16 years in. Tom, you've been a part of every one of these. The generosity of the people in this community is absolutely second to none.
That is the statement that describes what the Tom Coughlin J Fund is. The generosity of Jacksonville people wanting to help other people. There's been so much kindness today, so much warmth, so much caring, and the stories that we heard from people, we heard from Tom and Kelly Coughlin. It makes this the most special day of the year at 1010XL, and just about everybody who's sat in these studio chairs today has said, either on or off microphone, this is my favorite day of the year at 1010XL.
Yeah. And look, I told Rick this earlier. This was always a big day for me, but then my son was born back in 2019, and then I became a father. And in thinking about men and women in our community who have a young son, a young daughter that get diagnosed with this terrible situation, and they're looking for help. I mean, bills are piling up, doctor bills are piling up just to put gas in the car to get to doctor's appointments. I mean, it just pulls at your heartstrings, man. And now with my son, it's taken that much up for me every year when we do this radiothon.
A day like today makes you feel better about. There's so much bad news. Wherever you turn on the news, it's negative. Today is all about positive. And it's a day of hope, really. People want to help other people. And when you see it in action, the generosity poured out as it was today, it is hopeful. Right now at 8 o'clock, $265,000 has been raised for families battling childhood cancer. Wow. We started at 7 o'clock this morning, and in one day, $265,000, that's more than $250,000, $16,000 more than last year, which was an all-time record that we blew out of the water. And this one, right now, $16,000, and Hacker has 2 hours left, so if you haven't had a chance to give yet, you can do so until 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, there are 2 ways to do it. Text GOAL to 243-725. Text GOAL 243-725, or simply go to the website, tcjfund.org/radiothon, and I believe they can also, Tom, just go to 1010xl.com, and it'll take them to the Tom Coughlin J Fun website.
That's right. There's a link at 1010xl.com.
It is amazing. 16 years in, you and I were talking earlier. Look, I thought when we had $18,000 in donations 16 years ago, that was incredible. And then it grows and it grows and it grows to today, over $250,000, man. And like you said, there are certain days where all the nonsense goes away. Political party affiliation. We're a sports radio station, so orange and blue, garnet and gold, Georgia, Miami, whatever fan you are, one thing can unite us for one day, and that's no one listening to my voice right now, no one wants to see families in our community have children that are battling this disease make life for them any harder than it already is. If there's anything we can do, I mean, what is $100 or $116 to most people? That's a night out on the town with your wife, right, or your husband or whatever. If you just take that one night away and donate, you do so much good for these families and you help them so much.
I like what you said about all the teams we all root for and associate with. Today, we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
We're all wearing the J Fund colors today. We're all caring about the same thing. And here is an idea for maybe next year if this today caught up on you and you weren't prepared for it. You had a tough year. Start saving for next year months in advance. That's what my family does. We know it's coming up the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, so a couple months in advance, we're already putting money aside so that when it comes up, we already have the money saved. So there's an idea maybe for next year so that it doesn't pinch you if you are watching a tight budget.
You have done an absolutely sensational job today, and you've done a sensational job with this event for now 16 years running. A lot of work goes into this. And just, for you, when you work with these families, you work with Tom Coughlin and Kelly Coughlin. I mean, you work with these folks. And the look on their faces when you make that announcement of $265,000 that's going to help these families in our community, that's got to be just an unbelievable feeling to give them that news.
It's a wonderful feeling because I look at them as heroes. These are people that I admire. What they do matters every day of their life. It's their job. It's also their passion. It's in their heart. It is part of their lives. 7 days a week, they live to help other people. My goodness, you don't find better motivation than that. So to see a day like this light them up with joy and excitement and enthusiasm, that's the reward right there, because you know they're going to pass it on to all the families who need it. And that's really what it's about. But when you can move them to excitement, you know that something special is happening because they're doing this every day.
We're about to have one final story, at least for our radio station today. The stories continue. Tom, we do it one day a year. But the Tom Coughlin J Fund is year-round. The Radiothon is one day, but the J Fund is 365. If people want to donate next week, or if their paycheck comes in and maybe they can donate in 2 weeks, how can they get involved with the J Fund any day of the year?
Well, tcjfund.org is their website, and you can always reach the members of the J Fund through their website any day. They also have a phone number on there that you can call too. One of the things that we have heard over and over again from the families is they're so accessible. Mm-hmm. It's easy to reach them, and they're quick to respond to needs. Volunteers, people love to volunteer for the J Fund because of the good work that they do, and they always do need more volunteers. So maybe you can't give financially, or maybe you can only give a little bit financially, but you want to volunteer. You can volunteer all year round for the J Fund because they're always doing things. And what's so wonderful and special about the J Fund is they try to make everything fun. They try to bring a happy, joyful experience to everything that they do because they know how important that is, and they know that's what people need who are struggling. We've heard a lot about struggle today and suffering, and we've seen a lot of strength, we've seen a lot of kindness, and we've seen people that care, and we've seen people who battle and who are grateful, thankful people. And so working with the J Fund, that's just a joy because that's what they are. They are joyful people who want to help other people. And so if you want to be a J Fund volunteer, go to the website, tcjfund.org, all year round, there are opportunities where you can help out and be part of the joyful experience that is the J Fund.
Again, the Radiothon is not over. We're going to take it up to 10 o'clock. You can text GOAL to 243-725. You can also go to the website, tcjfund.org/radiothon, if you would like to give to this great cause that helps families right here in our local area, the Tom Coughlin J Fund. Tom Champion, great work, my friend. $265,000 raised today for the J Fund. That is absolutely incredible. And I'm sure you'd like to say one more thank you to the men and women of Jacksonville, Florida.
I would like to say great work, Jacksonville. Great work to you who are listening, who took time out of your day to care enough to help somebody who needs your help. Thank you, and God bless you.
Tom Champion, great job, buddy. Really appreciate it. Again, text GOAL to 243-725. You can also donate up until 10 o'clock tonight for the Radiothon at tcjfund.org/radiothon. Let me set the scene for you tonight. We'll do a big deal of the night in just a moment. We're going to have Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar wide receiver. He's going to come on to break down the Jags-Texans. He was actually on the sideline of that game in Houston on Sunday. We'll certainly look ahead to Monday Night Football as well. Also, my buddy Ryan Fowler of Bleacher Report, as we'll not only talk Jaguars, but we'll talk a little AFC South as well. Both of those guys are coming up within the hour. But one more guest here to talk about the J Fund and what it means. We've heard so many stories today on all the shows here on 1010XL. It's my pleasure to welcome in Stephen, who will be our final person to speak to the Radiothon tonight. Stephen, how are you?
We're doing really well. How are you guys doing tonight?
Stephen, we're good. Thank you for the time. Thank you for joining us at this hour. You are the father of Lillian, who was diagnosed with a form of leukemia. And look,
Yes,
we've been telling Stephen stories all day about the J Fund and what this money goes to help parents and families battling this situation. Just speak to the J Fund and what they've done for you and your family.
Well, I guess for us, where it really helped was we were the cancer was really rough. Like my wife was a stay-at-home mom. I was an engineer, but I couldn't do my job with the kid going to the hospital all the time. So we were. They just helped with a lot. They helped cover rent. They helped cover automotive maintenance. They gave us gas cards. We would have to intermittently, just in the middle of the night, she'd get a fever, and we'd have to rush her to the hospital because it could be something that could kill her. So it's, you don't have time to worry about anything else in life, and they helped cover stuff whenever we couldn't.
Stephen, I got to tell you, man, I got a 4-year-old myself, and I know Lillian's 4 as well, and I can't imagine what this road has been like for you and your wife and your family. And I know the financial struggles that you guys have had based on the situation here, and the J Fund has certainly helped you out in a lot of different regards.
A lot, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's an unbelievable situation. I mean, you speak about, gas for your car, right? Bills to keep the lights on at your house. I don't know if people really even think about that. I mean, obviously, your first and foremost priority is your child and getting them the treatment that they need. But life doesn't stop, Stephen, right? I mean, you speak to this better than I can, certainly. Life goes on, and you got to take care of those responsibilities.
Yeah, she had 2 older brothers, and, whenever she got diagnosed, we spent that first, it was 21 days of that first month. My wife and I were living out of the hospital room, and my mom was having to watch the kids at home, and it's like we couldn't really do anything else. There were times where, we just would have to go rush to the hospital in the middle of the night, the middle of the day. We'd have treatment 5 days a week sometimes, and it's, you can't do anything else. You just have to stay on the regimen, stay on the schedule. It was, 9 months of intense the chemotherapy, and then another year and a half after that of maintenance chemotherapy. And even through that year and a half, if stuff happens, like she got COVID and HMV, human metapneumovirus, twice, and she almost died during one of the procedures, and it was just it sucked.
Yeah, Steven, look, I'm not an emotional guy. I think most people around the radio station will tell you that. But I was forwarded an email, I believe it was your wife, that wrote a letter that was addressed to cancer. And she was talking to cancer directly in this letter. And I'm reading this thing before the show tonight, and I almost had to stop midway through. Just what this has done to your family. But on the flip side of that, things are, from what I understand, beginning to turn the corner. Is that correct? Yeah, Lily, she finished her chemo January 30th, and she got her portacath out in May. So we're just doing monthly visits to the hospital for the first couple of years, and then it's like, so she was back in school. And it was great because even at the end, the TCJ Fund, they had tickets to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp game. That was really awesome. We got to go to one of the Jaguars games. That was really awesome. Other than the fact it was like 95 degrees, but it was still an exciting game. And it was the stuff we would have never been able to do. And like Tom Coughlin, they just helped give us a lot of hope on that other side, help take our mind off things. It was really great. Steven, final thought from you. We've got a lot of people that are probably driving around right now. They've been thinking about, should I donate? Where does the money go? All right, one more time. You can text GOAL to 243-725, or you can go to the website, tcjfund.org/radiothon. Steven, the floor is yours, man. Tell people here in Jacksonville why they should donate to the Tom Coughlin J Fund. Why should they donate? Just out of empathy, out of sympathy that, it's stuff that we never, ever would have ever thought would have happened. Like the cancer diagnosis, it's not like you see it coming. It's not like, it's indiscriminate. We spent years trying to be healthy, and she was great. She never got sick for the first 18 months of her life, and then cancer came out of nowhere, and everything changed. So if you just give, it's not even for us anymore. We're out of it, but I feel bad for the other families who don't have strong families along their side, or single parents. We've met several single parents who don't have anyone else, who don't have family or church or friends, because that's their entirety of their life, is trying to keep their kids alive, get them to the hospital. And so give, just to help keep the lights on, just to help keep food on the table. There's the government's like Medicare and food stamps. It took forever to get it. It was not enough ever. So Tom Coughlin helped a lot. It helped fill in the gap. Boy, you don't need a better testament than that. That is powerful. Steven, God bless you, my friend, your family. And so Lillian's doing well, right? Things are looking up for her. How's she enjoying school this year? Lily, you feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you enjoy friends this year?
Huh?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. What a special moment. Lillian, you are an absolute sweetheart. We're so happy things are doing better for you. Steven, thank you for sharing your story, brother. And again, that letter your wife wrote, that got me, man. And best of luck to you guys. We're going to hope to raise a lot of money for the J Fund here over the next 2 hours. And I don't know if you heard earlier, we're already at $269,000 today donated to the J Fund on the Radiothon. And the generosity in this community is absolutely incredible. Stephen, you and Lillian have a great night, brother, and we're thinking about you.
Thank you guys very much.
Whew. Man, all right. So I'm going to compose myself, honestly, for about the next couple of minutes, and then we are going to turn the corner to sports very soon. But I'll have some closing thoughts on the J Fund. We got Cecil Shorts coming up as well. Again, the text and the website donations will run up until the end of our show at 10 o'clock tonight. Text GOAL 243-725. You can also go to tcjfund.org/radiothon. More to do. Hacker After Dark rolls on, Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. Wednesday night edition right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey folks, if you want to add value to your home without breaking the piggy bank, Shark Coatings offers multiple finance options to meet your budget. Like a smaller garage for as low as $45 per month, or a standard 2-car garage around $58 a month. And a 4-car driveway with a walkway is only $82 a month. Of course, each property is unique and our design consultants can give you exact pricing for your project. But here's a way to only spend a little each month for the Shark Coatings your concrete floors need now. Shark Coatings, we're ready when you are.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 29, 1987, Joe Montana completes NFL record of 22 consecutive passes in the 23-12 win over Green Bay.
Allentown Mortgage gives you both a fast online application process and an expert mortgage advisor to get you the best mortgage at the most competitive rate in the nation. You can be a number at a big box bank and spend weeks filling out paperwork or call Allentown Mortgage. Eric summed it up in his 5-star Google review. Allentown knows the mortgage industry. When the big boxes say no, they say yes. The whole process went very smoothly. Get the mortgage experience you want. Go to allentownmortgage.com. That's allentownmortgage.com. NMLS number 103917, 4810 Executive Park, Jacksonville.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Let me share an Awaken 180 secret with you. My coach, Krista, isn't just a coach. She's a personal cheerleader. Every week she tosses me a fun challenge. Sometimes it's whipping up a recipe from my go-to foods. Other times it's a video to hurdle over a mental block. But last week, she hit the jackpot by saying, Matt, just enjoy Thanksgiving with your family. She gave me tips to help navigate the holiday, but didn't lose focus of why I ultimately called Awaken 180, to be there for my family. And I still lost weight. That's the beauty of Awaken 180. It seamlessly fits into your life, even during holidays, parties, vacations, you name it. It's the reason Awaken 180 has become America's go-to for weight loss. I dropped double digits in my first week, and I'm closing in on 20 pounds. Do what I did and call Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com. Get down to your ideal weight fast and safely with Awaken 180 and keep it off with free lifetime support. No supplements, suppressants, or medications.
You lost your swing. We got to go find it.
It's your Saturday morning swing adjustment.
Grip it and rip it.
Get the golf tips and talk to take your game to the next level. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL.
Feeling the chill as temperatures drop? Your home should be your warm haven. But what if it's not? Don't let the cold sneak in. Let Duck Duck Air Conditioning tackle the issue. Our expert techs will have your heating system up and running in no time. Go ahead, get your comfort back. Contact Duck Duck Air Conditioning at 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, where your comfort comes first, no matter the weather. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com.
Hey, hon, our new True Flame Grill from CSS is installed and ready to go.
I still can't believe what a great deal we got from CSS. They're always so good to us.
Well, they said the new True Flame Grills redefine value for premium craftsmanship. I mean, look at this thing. Multiple heat zone separators, stainless steel to withstand the weather.
A lifetime warranty and cool lighting so we can
Grill at night. Okay, let's get cooking.
True Flame Grills. See them today at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
Hey everyone, Jason Parker, CEO of Performance Painting here. 'Tis the season for giving gifts, and this year our gift to you is waiving the power washing fee when prepping to paint your commercial building or home exterior. That's a $500 to $3,000 savings back in your pocket depending on the square footage. And no matter who you hire, make sure they power wash using the proper methods, which includes being careful around your expensive windows. Learn more at performancepaintingjacks.com or call today at 849-2499.
Performance Painting!
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I'm Tom Coughlin, and welcome to the J-Fund Radiothon on 1010XL. Please be there for these kids and their families tackling childhood cancer by giving today. Call 207-7070 right now.
She had 2 older brothers, and, whenever she got diagnosed, we spent that first, it was 21 days of that first month. My wife and I were living out of the hospital room, and my mom was having to watch the kids at home, and it's like we couldn't really do anything else.
That was Steven, father of Lillian. We just had him on. Another just heartbreaking story about what childhood cancer does to families. Now, the good thing in that situation is he actually put his little girl on the phone with us. Lillian is doing better now, 4 years old. She's in school, but he was just speaking about what the J-Fund does for these families. We're going to get to sports in just a moment. My friend Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar wide receiver, will join us in less than 10 minutes. But as we do every night, normally to kick things off a little later than usual, I want to do a big deal of the night here on Hacker After Dark, and of course, there's only one real big deal today.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
It absolutely never ceases to amaze me, the generosity of you, the hardworking men and women of Jacksonville, Florida. This is the 16th year that we as a radio station and I as an employee of 1010XL have been a part of the Tom Coughlin J-Fund Radiothon. And I remember 16 years ago, we raised $18,000. And I thought that was enormous. I couldn't believe it. 18 grand. It was incredible. The generosity of people. And as the years have gone by, that number has grown and grown and grown. And we don't even have a final tally right now. But at last check, $269,000 was donated by you, the kind, generous people of Northeast Florida, to help these families that have children battling cancer. Again, doesn't matter what your political party is today. It doesn't matter who you root for in a sports sense today. It doesn't matter really anything other than we can all be united by one common fact. And that is no one in Jacksonville, no one listening to my voice right now wants to see any family suffer more than they have to when they are seeing their children battling childhood cancer. And what the Tom Coughlin J-Fund does is incredible. The work they do for these families is incredible. And the work you have done today to donate over $250,000 to help these families is incredible. Thank you. It is unbelievable, the generous, kind people that we have in our community, and today shows that every single year. And again, if you would like to get in to donate, the phone lines are gone for the evening, but what's not gone is the text, and what's not gone is the website. They're going to do it up till 10 o'clock this evening. You can text GOAL to 243-725. That's GOAL. Text that to 243-725. or you can go to their website, tcjfund.org/radiothon. There's also a link to that website on our homepage at 1010xl.com if you would like to donate and get involved to help local families, again, local families in our area that have children battling childhood cancer. On that note, we will get on to the world of sports. We will keep you updated on the J-Fun throughout the evening. The Jaguars, huge win on Sunday in Houston. A man that was there actually played for both teams during his career. You remember former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. He lives in Houston. He's also a former Texan. He was on the sideline for that game Sunday. Cecil joins us every week here on Hacker After Dark. We'll get his thoughts on the Jags' big victory, and we'll look ahead to Monday Night Football. How about this as a side note, Denmark? And talking to Cecil earlier today, we talk about Monday Night Football 12 years ago. The last time it was here, 38-14, the San Diego Chargers at the time beat the Jaguars. That was Cecil Short's rookie year. He caught a touchdown in that game.
Caught
a touchdown in that game the last time Monday Night Football was here in Duval County. Let's talk Jags with my friend Cecil Shorts next Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals. Monday night, the first time Monday Night Football comes to Jacksonville since 2011. If you can believe that, it's been 12 years when the Cincinnati Bengals roll in. Let's preview that game, and let's certainly look back on the big win in Houston with Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. Cecil, how you doing, man?
You know what? You brought back some memories. You said 2011. Well, in 2011, that was my rookie year, and that was my first ever touchdown in the NFL against the Chargers. Monday Night Football in 2011. So that's I think we got killed that game, but I had my first ever touchdown.
No, that's awesome. Cool. I did, yeah, it was 38-14 Chargers, and come to think of it, I remember your touchdown, actually, as a matter of fact. Yeah, but that's crazy, right, that it's been 12 years since Monday Night Football has come here.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I kind of just assumed in the Jalen Ramsey era that you guys or the Jacksonville Jaguars had Monday Night Football. I guess it hasn't been that long. Didn't realize it.
Yeah, long time. We'll get to that in a moment. But, Cecil, we got to take a look back. You're a former Jaguar. You're also a former Texan. And, boy, you nailed the game. I mean, you nailed it. You actually said 24-21, and then you changed it at the very last minute to 27-24. But we'll give you credit, man. I mean, you were spot on with the Jaguars by a field goal over the Texans.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. You know what I mean? Anytime it's a division opponent, it's always hard-fought, but there was some things that really mattered. I think Jacksonville came out to really make a point, and obviously they came out and they got the victory, but I think they really were motivated this week. Me and you kind of hit on it. They were overlooked. They're still overlooked. I mean, even the conversation after the game in Houston is like, hey, we lost, but CJ is still better than Trevor. It's like where he outplayed Trevor, right? So it's still like they came in motivated. They had a chip on their shoulder, and they went out there and they executed. I absolutely loved their defensive game plan, and it worked to perfection. So I was not surprised by it, but, man, I tell you what, it was a really, really good game.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts with us here on 1010XL. Cecil, 90% of this will be Jaguar-related, but quickly, you live out in that area. You mentioned the reaction out there. I know they're upset about the officiating, but what is the thought in Houston about the loss last Sunday?
A lot of talk about officiating. I think there was some blatant calls that were missed, which is fair. Well, there are also blatant calls against Jacksonville or on the Jacksonville side that were missed as well. I think there were evenly just bad calls across the board. It just happened to be when you're in Houston, you notice all of your calls, right? Whether it was pass interference a couple of times. They called pass interference on Steven Nelson, and he didn't even touch a guy, but I think they were trying to call it on the slot receiver on Evan Ingram and Thomas, who was checking him. So it was a lot of talk about that, but the conversation is Okay, did CJ outperform Trevor, right? Okay, Texans, they're still good. That's a playoff team in Jacksonville. They competed. It was a hard-fought game. We actually have a good team. They were kind of they're kind of hanging on it, the different field goal talks and missed spot here and there. But Houston's excited that they're actually competitive again. For a while they were kind of just hanging on by a thread. But they have a quarterback. They have some young talent, and they're moving forward.
Yeah, and they got a big one this week against Denver. It'll be kind of nice here in Jacksonville. Denver, Houston, and Indianapolis, Tennessee. We can kind of kick our feet up and watch those games, getting ready for Monday Night Football. From the Jaguar point of view last week, Cecil, the season could have gone one of two ways after San Francisco, and I think you and I even talked about it. It could tailspin out of control, or you could learn from that game, grow from it, and make it better yourself. And I think clearly the Jaguars have done the latter. They have looked very good in the last two ball games.
It's hard playing after a bye week. You were in momentum. We talked about the crazy schedule they had, winning 5 in a row. You have some off time, and then you're trying to get back into it, and you're going against a really, really good, fired up, healthy San Francisco team that wanted to prove a point, right? You got your butt kicked. But the leadership that comes from the coach, the leadership that comes from the players in the locker room to come out there and get these back-to-back victories is a big, big deal. And they do it in a big way. They handled the victory right after San Fran. I can't remember who that team was. And then they came in Houston in a big game and handled their business. The better team won, if I'm honest, that Sunday. The better team won. They're 8-3 for a reason. So they came out there, they dominated the front, they won the offensive line and defensive line and made a point and said, hey, we're going to pressure C.J. Stroud. We're going to get a ton of pressure on him and make somebody else beat us. So you're going to have to get outside the pocket. You're going to have to move. And C.J. made some plays here and there, but he was not comfortable. He was banged up. He was limping. They did an excellent job. So, man, it just shows the leadership, the poise that they have. That's what you want to see from a playoff team.
You take the last two games, the win here over Tennessee and the game out there against Houston, 2-0. But Trevor Lawrence is the story. 620 yards passing in the last two games, 6 total touchdowns, 3 through the air. He's also run for 3. Cecil, what have you seen in the last 2 weeks? Why is this Jaguar passing game better now than maybe it has been all year?
Number one, he's healthy. Number two, I think Trevor is better when he gets some rhythm, either outside the pocket or in the running game. So when he can move outside the pocket, we saw a lot of boots this past Sunday against Houston. So you play action, they're booting him out the pocket, and he's comfortable when he's moving, when he's able to see down the field. The play action passes they did deep down the field were exceptional, and he was I think 7-14 on passes that were in the air 10 yards or longer. But he is coming to his own. I think he's healthy, and I think I'm honest with you, I think he's hearing the noise. I think he's hearing hey, is Trevor this good? Is Trevor the next protege of this, or is he just a letdown? Is he, he should have been number one pick, or would you take CJ over him? As a player, you hear these things, and you never want to let external motivators always motivate you or be the main reason you're motivated, but it definitely helps. So I think him being healthy, him being motivated, and then him just being the leader that he is, him being calm, cool, and collected. But what I saw against Houston firsthand on the sideline, he was on fire, brother. He was on pinpoint accuracy. The one interception, I'm gonna blame the referees for that. It was clear holding on Ingram, I believe. But man, when he's outside the pocket and able to run with his feet, he is in rhythm. He feels comfortable. I think he's not comfortable when he has to sit in the pocket and go through his progression 1, 2, 3. He's not there yet. But we can get him outside the pocket. He can survey the field. He's good to go.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Short. Cecil, I was talking with Leon Searcy about this on the postgame show on Sunday. I'm interested in your thoughts as well. You spent 7 years in the league. You can certainly speak to it better than most. The Jaguars are 6-0 outside of Jacksonville. Now, they only get credit for 5 of those because apparently the Wembley Stadium game in London was considered a, quote, home game. So they only are credited for 5. But they've won 6 games, 2 in London, Indianapolis, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, and Houston, all outside of Duval County. Leon raved about that on Sunday. Well, what's your thought about the Jags being 6-0 away from home?
That's huge, brother. That shows composure. It shows that you can step up to the challenge. It shows as a team you can handle different environments. And you never know how the playoffs are going to be, right? I believe right now they're the number 1 seed, but you never know how things lay out at the end of the day. So to be that confident that you can go on the road anywhere, whether it's London, whether it's, Pittsburgh, different atmospheres, and get a W, that is huge. Like you can't minimize how important that is, right? Because you almost feel unbeatable. Because you should feel complete at home. You should feel pretty confident at home. But if you're confident on the road and you do it over and over and over, and in this case 6 times, that's a huge deal. Like you're proving a point that we can play anywhere and kick your behind and still execute no matter what the atmosphere is, no matter what's going on around. And that's rare in the NFL. That is rare. So this is a really big deal that they are actually 6-0 when it comes to being on the road.
And with all due respect to Arizona, Carolina, teams of that sort, I mean, they went into Pittsburgh in bad weather and won. They went into Indy on opening day and won. They went to that dome in New Orleans on Thursday night and won. And then Houston in the Battle Red, which, by the way, I love that uniform combo. They went out there and won. So they're winning in some very tough environments. Josh Allen is getting a lot of talk here this week. He was a ferocious monster on Sunday, particularly in that final drive, sacking C.J. Stroud twice. What did you see out of Allen and Walker and that Jags D-line?
They did a heck of a job, man. Well, that's my first time really seeing him up close, and I didn't realize how huge he was. But at the same time, what's funny? My wife pointed something out because she was at the game. She was like, see, so Jacksonville's their defensive line they're big, but they're not like the fat type. They're real athletic, fast, and they're using their speed to get to CJ. I said, baby, you better know your stuff. You better know your stuff. I'm like, absolutely. So you've seen Josh Allen, who is powerful, use his agility, use his speed, use his combinations to really put pressure on those tackles. And CJ literally was on the move almost every pass play. He had to make adjustments. He had to get out the pocket. He had to scramble. He had pressure on him. I think it ended up with 2, maybe 3 sacks. But the fact that him and Trayvon Walker got so much pressure, the D-line as a whole got so much pressure. And a lot of the time, it wasn't like they were sending 6, 7 guys. They did at times. And at the times they did, they were successful. But a lot of the times, it was just pressure from the front 4, maybe 5. So it was impressive that they felt like, I think coming to the game, they felt like they can get pressure on CJ. They liked their matchup against Tunsil, against whoever the other tackle was, George Font. They liked their matchup. They thought their guys were better, and they went out there and they executed highly. And it was from the first series on, and they were on CJ's behind all dang on day. Then, of course, when you look at how they stopped the run, it was exceptional. They already were one of the top teams when it comes to stopping the run. But to slow down a team that just ran for 150 yards a week before, 112 yards after that, they were kind of getting things going in the run game to completely shut it down. This is a really big deal for Josh Allen and that defensive line.
Couple of more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. He's with us every week here on Hacker After Dark. That brings us to Monday Night Football. As you said, you scored a touchdown your rookie year the last time Monday Night Football was here in Jacksonville 12 years ago. So, Cecil, if you're Josh Allen, if you're Trevor Lawrence, if you're a lot of these young Jaguars that have never played anywhere else, it's their first Monday Night Football experience. How excited are you, but in the same token, how much do you have to kind of temper yourself a little bit so you don't get too jacked too early?
You're the only game on television. Like the only game on national television, the national stage. You are so jacked up. The preparation for that week is different because you have an extra day to prepare, right? You played Sunday. Usually it's Sunday to Sunday. And we know about Thursday nights being shorter, right? Everybody, walk-throughs and jog through practices. People hate them, whatever. But Monday, it's like an extra day. So you come in that extra Saturday. You may come in on a Sunday, just an extra day to prepare so you know what's going on. You know what's happening. You get so amped up, and there's so much time to get amped up. You really got to control yourself. You really got to temper yourself down. Because this is what you dream of doing since you were 6 years old. 7 years old, high school, whatever. Like, you watch the Monday Night Football game. You see it on ESPN. You see it on SportsCenter. You've seen this your whole life. Now you're on it. And for it to be back in Jacksonville, I'm expecting it to be jam-packed there. I'm expecting the excitement to be crazy, the atmosphere to be crazy. I remember Monday night in Jacksonville, my rookie year, and we weren't that good. It was jam-packed there. It was so exciting just to be in that atmosphere, right? And then I remember scoring that touchdown. Everybody's up and raise their hands and get excited. Woo! So I can't imagine what it is right now when you're 8-3, number one in the AFC, and you're going against a Bengal team that doesn't have Joe Burrow. Like, they should be chomping at the bit, brother. Like, this should be a big-time game to really continue this win streak. Get back on the – like, you won 2 in a row. No, you won 5, excuse me. You lost to San Fran. Now you won 2. Continue with 3. You're probably one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Like, you can really make a statement if you dominate this game. So if those guys come out there and don't let the atmosphere and they're able to control the atmosphere, like control their emotions, they should be fine.
Cecil, Cincinnati has talent. They're desperate. They're 5-6. They basically have to win on Monday night to have a chance at the postseason. And I understand Joe Burrow's out, and that's huge, obviously. I'm not downplaying that. But with Jamar Chase and Boyd and Mixon, and we'll see what T. Higgins' status is later in the week. I mean, put us in the mindset of those Bengals skill position guys, knowing they got a backup quarterback, knowing they got to take their game to another level to help him out.
Any pass that comes your way, you got to make the most of it because you don't know. Especially after watching Jacksonville play Houston, when you see that film, when you see Josh Allen, and you see Walker, and you see the rest of the guys get pressure on CJ and him having to running everywhere, you're like, hey, we got to get the ball out quickly. And when the ball does come our way, we got to make the most of it. We got to help our quarterback out. So their mindset is, hey, if you just be Chris Paul, give me a chance, give me an assist, I can help you. I can be there for you. Like you said, they got playmakers out there behind. They got T. Higgins, hopefully, and then Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon and, of course, Jamar Chase. If the quarterback can get it near them, they can make plays. But that's the thing. That pass rush is going to be critical. And then it's a backup quarterback. He's a backup for a reason, no offense to him. So if you're a skill player, you're thinking, okay, I got to make plays, not force things, but when the ball comes my way, I really got to make a play and help my team out.
And, you look at that Cincinnati secondary. They lost guys last year in free agency like Jesse Bates and Von Bell. They got a lot of youngsters back there, Cecil. I think they start 2 rookies back there. So if I'm Ridley, Kirk, Ingram, Jones, the Jaguar skill position guys, you're licking your chops a little bit, right?
Man, listen, you are salivating at the mouth right now because they're down without their quarterback. They're rookie, like you said, Mitch, there are 2 rookies back there. Their weak part of their secondary or their defense is the secondary. So to be able to attack that, you're hot right now. I mean, I don't know how many yards he threw for last week, Trevor Lawrence. He was dropping dimes to everybody.
Yeah, 364 last week.
This is like every time I looked up, it was a crossing route with Ridley coming this way. And then towards the end of the game, it was a big play from Kirk. It was just they have a rhythm right now. And it's a trust right now that they have that they need to continue, and I think it will continue Monday night.
Cecil, not to put words in your mouth as we wrap up, but it sounds like you like the Jaguar chances on Monday night.
I'm expecting them to kick their behind. That's just my honest thought. That they should go out there and kick their behind. Whether it's 28-0 or just they should go out there and handle the game well, kick their behind, and let's get better. Let's go 9-3, stick your number one, stay at number one in the AFC, and really make a statement like, hey, we're here to stay.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts is with us every week here on 1010XL. Cecil, appreciate the time. Know you're busy, my man. We'll do it next week when the Jaguars go to Cleveland. It'll be a short week. It'll be interesting next week. We'll see what happens. We'll talk to you then, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. Anytime.
Hey, folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m.
Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is cool and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p.m. on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Dan Hicken here for Bowden Associates. I want to remind you that now is the perfect time to schedule your eye exam. Take advantage of your existing insurance benefits before they reset in January. Join the many satisfied patients who trust Bowden Eye with their vision. Schedule your eye exam now and enjoy the peace of mind that comes with clear and healthy eyes. And remember, your deductibles reset in January, so don't miss out on the benefits you've already earned. Bowden Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Frank Franzi here for Stanley Pools. There's a reason so many of my friends and our listeners have had Stanley Pools build their pools and now maintain their pools, because Stanley Pools truly cares about their customers. Stanley Pools is locally owned and has been serving our community for 35 years. For all of your pool needs, call Stanley Pools at 269-7277. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools. 269-7277, or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com.
Hey folks, Dave Binion with Zero Res. I asked my wife what she wants for Christmas, and she said the same thing she does every year. She wants a clean home full of family and friends. That means the carpets, the tile and grout, the large oriental rug in our family room, and the huge sectional sofa that everyone loves to hang out on all need a good Zero Res cleaning. Give Zero Res a call and get your carpets cleaned for only $49 a room, and get your tile and grout cleaned for 25% off. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Denny Thompson here. This holiday season, tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give the gift of peace of mind. Catch everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. Whether you're traveling for the holidays or just cheering on your team, earn a big score on safety and convenience. Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now for the holiday season at 904-762-1000. That's 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
You can't have exceptional water quality without the hefty price. With Kanaya Water Systems, a premium, high-quality water and filtration system that won't leave your wallet taking an L. Search KENAI Water Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hi there, I'm Steve Spurrier, and you're listening to the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon on 10XL 92.5 FM.
Call 207-7070 right now with your gift. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
There is still time to donate to the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon. Again, already received from you, the hardworking men and women of Northeast Florida, over $265,000 in donations today for the J Fund to help families in our area that have children battling childhood cancer, and that money goes to pay car bills and house bills, or maybe even put gas in the car, things you don't even really think of. But when you have a sick child and you're in the hospital constantly and you're back and forth to the doctor, and I can't even imagine how the bills pile up. But life goes on, man. Things still need to be taken care of. And this money today and what the J Fund does year-round goes to help these families. And if you would like to donate, there is still time to do it today. You text GOAL, that's GOAL, text GOAL to 243-725. That's 243-725. Or you can go to the website, tcjfund.org/radiothon. There's also a link to that website on our homepage at 1010XL.com. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We're with you till 10 o'clock. We're going to do a lot of NFL talk, some college talk in the 9 o'clock hour. Before we get there, we have 5 high school football teams remaining in our listening area. 5. And all 5 are in the state Final Four of their given classification. It's been a good postseason in Northeast Florida, and that's true down in St. Johns County with the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. Brian Braddock is their head coach. They are undefeated on the year. They will host a state semifinal Friday night against Fort Myers Dunbar, who's making the trip up for a right to play in the state championship game next week. I had the chance to catch up with Brian Braddock of St. Augustine High School, and here's that conversation on Hacker After Dark.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
High School Spotlight rolls on 1010XL 92.5 FM as we have 5 teams left in the state Final Four for their given classifications. It has been a great year for Northeast Florida in the postseason, and that includes St. Johns County with the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. They got revenge over Choctaw last week. They are in the state Final Four, and they are actually hosting a state Final Four game on Friday night. With that, Brian Braddock is the head coach of St. Augustine, and he's with us here on 1010XL. Coach, how we doing?
Doing great. How are you today?
Coach, we're good. All right, boy, last week a back-and-forth game against a good Choctaw team. You guys get it done in the fourth quarter to advance to the state Final Four. You must have been very, very pleased.
Yeah, really, really happy with how our kids played, especially being down 17-7 early in the second quarter. And they're an outstanding football team, so it was a great accomplishment for us to come back and win that game.
Coach, look, we talked about it last week. Whether you want to call it revenge factor, motivation, whatever you want to call it, you don't often get a second chance in life, but your seniors and your juniors got a second chance against a team that eliminated them last year. Did that mean a little extra something in the post-game locker room?
For sure, but I think only to the extent that we know how good they are, and obviously they ended our season last year, so it was they certainly had our attention. But more than anything, it was just that they're an outstanding football team, and we knew we'd be pushed, and was just really proud that we were obviously we're pushed to a great extent. And from that 17-7 deficit on to be able to outscore them 28-9 the rest of the way, it was just a credit to our kids, character and fortitude, and they just stayed calm and kept playing and did the job.
Brian Braddock, the head coach of St. Augustine. Coach, I know the job is not finished, and we're going to certainly get to the future, which is Friday night in the state Final Four. But 12-0, man. Did you take time over, the weekend to think about that? No, there's not a lot of teams that can say, well, we're 12-0, particularly with the schedule that you played.
Yeah, no, to be honest, not at this point. There's just, at this point, it's kind of you're all in with everything you've got to exhaust every resource to give your kids every chance possible to be successful. We're going to be sitting here. Best case scenario, if we can win, we'll be sitting here a week from Friday, done, like completely done. So, at this point, there's no time to really think about accomplishments thus far this year. Just pouring everything into what we have in front of us. Obviously really proud of being regional champions, and certainly being undefeated is something that we're proud of, but haven't thought about it too much, if I'm honest.
Coach, we'll get to the future again in a moment, but as we mentioned, 5 Northeast Florida teams in their given classifications are playing in the state Final Four. You guys, Bradford, Bowles, Mandarin, and Trinity Christian. What does that say to the talent in Northeast Florida that we have 5 schools still standing?
Yeah, there's a lot of really good football players. And, in addition to that, a lot of really good programs that those football players get great opportunities to maximize their ability and perform at a high level in. And it's just great for our area.
Brian Braddock, the head coach of St. Augustine. All right, Coach, Fort Myers, Dunbar will make the trip up here on Friday night. Truthfully, I don't know a lot about them except one thing. In looking at their scores, they appear to have a pretty good defense.
Yeah, they certainly do. They're outstanding on defense, extremely athletic, a really talented defensive line. And that's kind of carrying them through the playoffs, based off those scores. They're holding everybody they play to 1 or 2 scores. And they're a very, very talented football team. They play very hard. They're making a return trip to the semifinals. So we know that they'll be ready to play.
Again, not knowing too much about them, I've done a little bit of research. They were the 4 seed in their region of 8 teams, but yet they're 11-2 on the year. I guess that just speaks to the talent in South Florida.
Yeah, some quality teams in that region with Naples and Golden Gate, whom they've beaten both of them in the last 2 weeks. So they're battle tested and a really good football team.
Brian Braddock of St. Augustine. All right, you're at home. Fort Myers has to make that trip up here. I don't know what that is, probably 4.5 hours plus. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to have another team? Because you've had a lot of that. Choctaw had to do that. Escambia had to do that. Those long road trips to come to your place, you get to be at home again, and Fort Myers Dunbar has to make that trip. How much does that help you?
It's tremendous. And obviously it's a benefit to us to be home and be what where we're used to playing and used to the routine. But for our community and our school to be able to host a state semifinal is a big deal. So, there's nothing about it that's not a positive for us, and just really thrilled. I guess that's where the regular season, can pay off, and the good fortune we were able to have against some really good teams to give us the seeding that keeps us at home through the playoffs, and we're very excited about it.
Keys to victory Friday night, Coach. If you're playing for a state championship next week, what needs to happen this Friday night?
We got to continue to play the way we've been playing on defense, with just fanatical effort, and take the football away from the opponent, which we've been able to do the last few weeks. Offensively, we just need to be us. We need to be physical, and we need to protect the football. If we do those two things, we've got a lot of talented players. Good things will happen. So, typical coach speak type stuff. One other facet is, they won the game last week on a kickoff return for a touchdown. Special teams has been big for us throughout the playoffs. We had one rough play Friday night, but outside of that, the last 3 games, it's been outstanding. So, that'll be a big factor in this game as well. But the simple things, if we just do the simple things well, we'll have a chance to be successful.
Coach, invite them out. You guys are at home in St. Johns County, Fort Myers Dunbar, making the trip for the state Final Four. If people are looking for a ball game to go to on Friday night, that's a very good option there at St. Augustine High School.
No doubt. Yeah, it'll be a 7:30 kickoff. We're thrilled, for our community and our school to kind of be out there for everyone else. I know we're the only game in St. Johns County this week, so we're hopeful that not only do our own fans, our own community come out, we'd love to have anybody out that's interested in a great high school football atmosphere and a great game on Friday night. So we hope to see you at 7:30 at Brumley Stadium.
Brian Braddock, the head coach of the St. Augustine Yellow Jackets. Coach, best of luck on Friday. We hope we're talking to you next week, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Listen up. This weekend, you'll immediately, why can I say immediately? Come see why. Come see we. I can't say that line. And a lifetime, Beaver's till, I've not lost it. We know we aren't perfect, but we try every day to do our very best to provide the wow experience you deserve, and we're so grateful for all our amazing customers. Visit us at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville to see just how much we appreciate you.
Looking for the perfect stocking stuffer? How about the Blue Crab Crab House? Right now, buy a $50 gift card, you get $15 free. $50 gives you an additional $15. Also sign up. The private dining room is available for you. Call them 260-CRAB for all the details. Tuesday through Saturday, 4:30 to 9, Sunday noon to 9, only at the Blue Crab Crab House right off of San Jose, Jointon Creek Road.
This holiday, the Home Depot is helping you get gifts that keep on giving by making sure they keep on going. Right now, when you buy a select battery kit from Ryobi, Milwaukee, Rigid, DeWalt, or Makita, you get an eligible tool for free. Just pick a brand, pick a battery kit, and get a tool free. Give the gift of more doing this holiday with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid at participating stores and online. One per transaction. Discount taken at checkout. Full eligible tool list in-store and online. Valid October 23rd, 2023 through January 28th, 2024.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, your full opportunity employer.
WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, frustrated taking pills that don't work. Here's a message from Prime Men's Medical Center.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Prime Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough treatments with men lasting longer than ever without pain or surgery.
Call now. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results right in the office. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now. 904-664-8217. That's 904-664-8217.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Your musculoskeletal system carries the body, meaning that it maintains the structure against gravity. If you want your joints to stay healthy and seek the simplest solution, the best answer is to lose weight. Don't forget that the more weight you put onto your joints, the more pressure and stress there is on your hips and knees. This translates to more pain if you're already having issues. Losing weight is the quickest way to alleviate joint pain and boost your joint health. Go Jags.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Have you been approached by a potential buyer or investor for your business? You need to know what your business is worth and know the key value drivers that buyers and investors find most attractive. Maybe you're considering a full or partial sale. Let Patty Otterson, Kristen Vanez, and Caleb Kronik at Otterson Wealth Advisors guide you through the process. Visit OttersonAdvisors.com. Otterson Wealth Advisors, your goals, our expertise. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I'm Tony Baselli, and you're listening to the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Tom Coughlin. You can help us be there for these wonderful kids and their families. Please call now.
Call 207-7070.
Thank you for your support.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bengals, Monday night. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL, the first time in 12 years. You got to go back to 2011 since the last time the Jaguars had a Monday night home game. That ends next Monday when Cincinnati rolls in. Let's talk about that and a lot more with my friend Ryan Fowler. He does a terrific job at Bleacher Report covering the National Football League, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you having me on as always.
Hey, Ryan, thank you for the time. All right, I'm still trying to recover from C.J. Stroud versus Trevor Lawrence, Ryan. You do a great job covering the draft. Now you've moved on to Bleacher Report. You do a great job covering the NFL as a whole. C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence, that looks like it's going to be an awful lot of fun for a very long time.
Oh, man, the rest of the AFC South, right, we know that Tennessee's trying to figure it out, and Indy is as well under center, but CJ and Trevor going at it for the next decade is just, you root for good football. Of course, for Jaguars fans, you want the Jaguars obviously to come out on top like they did last weekend. But watching those two go head-to-head, and as far as how Trevor has improved since he's come in the league, and you watch what CJ has done in year one out of Ohio State, where the narrative around Ohio State quarterbacks, he's not Cardale Jones by any means, right? He's obviously proved people wrong in that aspect. He's gotten away from all the five-star talent that he had in college. Those two going at it's going to be such a fun battle to watch because they also have hell of a rosters around them as well, on offense and on defense. And that's ultimately what really, for me, Ryan, pushed me over the table in that game, is watching Josh Allen dominate the edges of that Houston offensive line. That's where it separated me. But overall, these two are going to be so darn fun to watch this next decade, competing not only in the AFC South for titles to come, but in the AFC and who's going to represent the AFC and hopefully Super Bowls in the years to come.
We're going to focus mostly on the Jaguars, but real quick, that's a football catastrophe for Carolina, right? They chose the wrong guy.
I think so. However, I did have Bryce Young as my number one quarterback coming out. I thought maybe the move was a little bit premature, but they flat out have to get help for Bryce Young around him. The weapons aren't there. They reached on guys like Jonathan Mingo. Terrace Marshall hasn't developed. Adam Thielen is a skeleton of himself of what he was in Minnesota. And really, Ryan, as well, offensive line has been absolutely abysmal. Chandler Zavala, they overdrafted. Ikem Ekwonu, who I loved coming out of NC State, has not been good. So there's a lot of things to get right there. But at the end of the day, and this is where I kind of come to senses with the move, is up top with Dave Tepper. Is he going to allow the football people to do their football job? Because if he doesn't, it's going to be a catastrophe, and Bryce Young could ultimately become a bust as we move forward into the next few seasons.
Ryan Fowler of Bleacher Report. All right, Ryan, back to the Jaguars. The last two games since whatever that was against San Francisco, Trevor Lawrence has thrown for 620-plus yards. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but Zay Jones is healthy and back on the field. Now, he's not putting up a lot of numbers, but I almost think the presence of Zay being out there is enabling Ridley, Kirk, and even Ingram to have an easier time of it, because clearly there's a correlation. Zay Jones on the field, the passing game is certainly opening up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have more weapons, right? More weapons, and athletes in space. And I think you've seen what Calvin Ridley's been able to do. Obviously, Christian Kirk has been excellent. And I even look at the tight ends room as well, right? Evan Ingram coming back, and you drafted Brenton Strange with high draft capital. Hasn't lived up to a ton of expectations, right, in 2023 in his rookie season. But I've loved to see the involvement of Luke Farrell over these last couple of weeks. From Ohio State, high draft capital as well to consider it, and just more matchups, right? Are you going to take bodies out of the box, lighten it up so we can run Travis Etienne 15 times? Because we can do that too. Or we can run some 12 or even some 13 personnel on you and get heavy and put some play action and give more protection for Trevor Lawrence, and we'll throw it down the field a little bit for you. So I completely agree with you. There's only one ball to go around, so I don't think there's going to be an issue as far as guys saying, why aren't I getting the ball here? Why aren't I getting the ball there? Similar to what we've seen at times with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith in Philadelphia. But more weapons are more weapons, and you're ultimately trying to force mismatch nightmares, and that's what the Jaguars are doing, as they've been excellent, especially the last 2 months of the season.
You go back to the trade deadline, a lot of people around here, Ryan, were upset the Jaguars didn't add a pass rusher. We'll get to that in a moment. But what they did was they added Ezra Cleveland. And at the time, you're thinking, all right, that's kind of weird, right? Why would you do that? And then you see Cam Robinson go down on Sunday. He's been put on short-term IR. He's going to be out at least 4 weeks. So now Walker Little slides from guard to his natural position of left tackle, and in comes Ezra Cleveland, who started 40-plus games in Minnesota. And I got to tell you, that second half against Houston, that offensive line was cooking in the pass game. I mean, Balky, what a job he did getting Cleveland at the trade deadline.
Absolutely. And that's ultimately where you not only earn playoff spots, but you look at the Jaguars atop the AFC South. Look at the next month of the season with a guy like Ezra Cleveland, if he has to play, to potentially clinch the AFC South. Maybe you get Cam back healthy, but it also provides you a window into what Ezra can do in the inside, not only in his days in Minnesota, but now in Jacksonville, and what Walker can do, as you mentioned, Ryan, on the spot where he's been most comfortable coming out of Stanford at tackle, which he's been pretty darn good at from what I've seen this year for the Jaguars. So I completely agree. Depth is important. You got to have starters pop, but the guys coming in behind them, we've seen it with the Bengals, who the Jaguars are going to see. Joe Burrow, you lose your quarterback, you lose a lot. But you also lose an offensive lineman that's important. You got to have depth behind them to come in and protect your most important piece, and that is clearly Trevor Lawrence.
Ryan Fowler of Bleacher Report. Ryan, I don't have the eye that you do. You cover the draft for a living. You study these guys all the time. But when I look at offensive linemen, my criteria is this. If I don't notice you, you're probably doing a good job. Because honestly, the only time I notice offensive linemen is if they're getting beat for sacks or if they're committing penalties. And that brings me to Anton Harrison. More times than not this year, I haven't noticed him. So I think the rookie out of Oklahoma is doing a pretty good job there on the right side.
I agree with you. And in watching Anton out of college, the old Oklahoma narrative, right? Big, athletic, but how will they hold up as far as displacing guys when they have to move vertical in the run game, depending on what you want to do, you run power or you run zone, and how do they anchor in pass pro against guys that can rush off the edge that are 220, 225, or you got a guy like Josh Allen with the Jaguars that's 255, 260, and same with Trayvon Walker, 270, 275, guys that can play up and down the defensive line. And Anton's improved. He hasn't been perfect. Pressures consistently every other week, but as long as Trevor Lawrence is staying upright, there's going to be pressure. He's not going to be perfect. It is really hard making the transition from the college game in the Big 12 to the NFL. It's a big jump. I don't care if this guy is from the SEC, and he wasn't. It's a big jump there for tackles. I thought Anton's done a nice job. He's absolutely a piece for the future. I know we've had our conversations earlier in the year, Ryan, as far as is Anton the guy? Does he need more time to develop? He absolutely, in my opinion, needs more time to develop. But I want to see him learn under fire. That's what he's been able to do under Doug Peterson, throwing him into the fire. And he's going to be tested these upcoming weeks, especially against Baltimore on Sunday Night Football in a couple weeks, which I can't wait to watch.
You mentioned Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. Let's talk about Josh Allen in a moment because that's the big story. But first to Trayvon Walker. He's not Aiden Hutchinson. All right, I'm not going to say that he is. Aiden Hutchinson's been better so far. And maybe I'm too much of a stats guy, Ryan, but I did this on my show last week. If you talk about sacks, quarterback hits, tackles, and tackles for loss, those four criteria, and you were to black out the names, Hutchinson and Walker are like very comparable. I think Hutchinson has one more sack. I actually think Trayvon had one more tackle for loss when I did it. I think Hutchinson had two more quarterback hits. I mean, they were basically the same guy. Now, I know Aiden's probably getting more pressures, but for all the grief that Trayvon Walker gets that he's not Aiden Hutchinson, I think when you look at the numbers may surprise you a little bit.
I agree. I mean, shoot, I'll take 11 pressures over the last 3 weeks any day of the week. And even with Trayvon Walker, what we saw at Georgia, we haven't seen it a lot in this Jacksonville defense. At Georgia, he was bumped into 1-tech, 3-tech. He would stand up at the 5, both in a 2-point stance with his hand in the dirt. He would line outside the tight end as a wide 9. This guy's 275 pounds. He's a grown man, and he's not even 23 years old yet. Soon to be 23 years old in a little under a month. But his ability up and down the defensive line, you mentioned it. Take the names away. Just look at the numbers. He's active. Now, the sacks right now are not there. And I know the penultimate for edge rushers, which he's lived at 5-tech so far, is the penultimate. How many sacks does a guy have? But you just watch the tape and the impact that he has, the double teams he forces, rushing twice, meaning the teams will put a tight end to the tackle, make him beat the tight end, then beat the lineman. That's called respect. And again, year 2 for him, he's continuing to improve. 4, 5, 6 pressures each of the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. That tells me a lot about Trayvon Walker. It's not all about sacks, as you mentioned. Watch the tape, watch him play, and he's an impact player on the opposite side of Josh Allen.
Couple more for Ryan Fowler of Bleacher Report. All right, Ryan, that gets us to Josh Allen. He was a ferocious monster. on Sunday against Houston. The guy's got 12 sacks on the year. He is about to get paid this offseason. I mean, I would at this point basically guarantee he's back here in Jacksonville. There is no way they're letting that guy leave with what he's done. Arguably, he's probably in the top 5 or 6 for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Josh Allen's having his best year of his career, Ryan. What is going so well for him right now?
He's just been fantastic. It's the ability to win the inside, win with the outside, win speed to power. Just so darn good. And I want to keep my words PG here, right? But it's so fantastic to watch Josh Allen play football right now because, in my opinion, when you think of Josh Allen, who do you think of? You think of the Buffalo Bills quarterback. For me this year, the best Josh Allen in football has been in Jacksonville on the edge with Josh Allen. He's been simply sensational. Best year really since we saw him out of Kentucky back in 2019. People forget that he was the first-round pick because of the lack of success that Jacksonville had in his first few years in Jacksonville. But you align him on the perimeter, you ask him to pin his ears back, and you get after people. We're not seeing any scenarios where he's consistently dropping into coverage or people want to get cute like we saw with Dallas with Micah Parsons when they initially drafted him to be a linebacker before they switched him up front. They're asking him to pin his ears back and get after the quarterback, beat that tackle, and just wreak havoc. And they're going to need him to be a Defensive Player of the Year type of player if they want to reach their ceiling this year, because it's not a wild card or a divisional appearance. It is potentially making their way to a conference championship where they haven't seen in a long, long time. The defensive success, it's about getting after the quarterback, and it starts with a guy like Josh Allen, who's just been simply sensational, Ryan.
All right, Ryan, 12 years since the last time Monday Night Football was in Jacksonville. It returns next Monday. Cincinnati rolls in. Obviously, Joe Burrow is not there. Jake Browning is. Jake Browning, his first career start last week. He was okay statistically. They only put 10 points on the board in a loss to Pittsburgh. But what are your thoughts on Jake Browning starting his first game in the NFL on the road here in Jacksonville on Monday night?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the initial game script is going to be for Jake Browning. You watched him at Washington in that air raid Pac-12 offenses where he's slung it around a bunch. And he can be extremely efficient, but he's going to be hitting guys over the middle of the field. Tight ends and Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample, Jamar Chase gets all the name, right? He's the sexy guy on the outside. Is T. Higgins healthy? Well, they also drafted Charlie Jones and Andre Yoshivas out of Princeton. Are those guys going to be involved? He is an efficient quarterback that wants to live in the 5 to 10 yard area of the offense. He's not going to stretch it down the field. He's not an impressive athlete. He's about a 4.75 runner. That doesn't move the needle for me as far as I'm threatening the edges with my legs. That's not what he's going to do. He's a throwback style of quarterback. So linebackers this week, Foye Olakun, Devin Lloyd, who have been excellent, in my opinion, in coverage this last 2-3 weeks, they're going to be tested over the middle of the field with these tight ends and guys like Trenton Irwin to where they want to get the game flow going before they hand it off to guys like Joe Mixon. So if I'm the Jaguars and I'm game planning for Jake Browning, he's not going to scare you threatening the defense vertically. He wants to live underneath, be efficient, be a game manager, which is an okay term to have. It's an okay to be a game manager, and just take the underneath stuff, but get in his face. Do not allow him to be comfortable inside the pocket, because as we know, in the NFL, doesn't matter who you are, you're there for a reason. Bengals obviously have trust in him doing a job and keeping them competitive. But you got to get after him and limit the intermediate areas of this offense. I think Jacksonville will be just fine. Yeah, Browning runs around a little bit too. You got to watch those scrambles. Defensively for Cincinnati, my one thing for them, Ryan, I think they're a desperate team. They're 5-6. They're battling and clawing to remain in the playoff conversation even without Joe Burrow. But their secondary is not near as good as it used to be. Obviously, the departure of Von Bell and Jesse Bates. They got young guys back there, a couple of rookies back there. And if I'm Trevor Lawrence and Ridley and Kirk and Ingram and Jones, and I look at that Bengals secondary, I'm licking my chops a little bit. Yeah, Jordan Battle, drafted him out of Alabama. He got his first start last week. DJ Turner was the fastest corner at this year's Combine. He's been really good for them this year, was picked on a little bit last week. But you're right. You know, Cam Taylor-Britt, he's had some ball production. Nebraska, second-round pick last year, but he's hurt last week. A lot of young guys, a lot of young names thrown into the fire. Dax Hill, year or two out of Michigan, played that jack spot for them, second and third level. They got some names. There's talent, but there's a difference between being a spreadsheet or an Excel spreadsheet type of team and then lining up with guys like Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk. And, oh, by the way, we can run the ball 15 to 25 times with Tank and with Travis Etienne And, of course, Dearness Johnson has gotten some more carries these last few weeks. So it's about being versatile in your offensive approach and threatening these guys down the field. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to have he's not going to shy away right now from a guy like DJ Turner, right? Or Nick Scott on the perimeter. These guys are going to live a little bit this week. They're going to eat a little bit this week. And I do expect Jacksonville to have some success early in this ballgame to get them going.
Ryan Fowler of Bleacher Report. Ryan, final question. We got about 90 seconds to go. It's a 4-team free-for-all in the AFC right now to see what highest seed you can get, 1, 2, 3, or 4, between the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. How would you assess those 4 right now heading into the month of December?
Oh, man, it's so fun. This group of 4. Again, I mentioned the Jags and Ravens on Sunday Night Football in a couple weeks. So excited to see that. You know me and my thoughts on Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to sit here and talk about 15 in Kansas City, but as long as he's there, they're going to have a shot. Miami, I still need to be proven a little bit with Miami on offense and defense. Losing Jalen Phillips is obviously huge for them. We'll see how Jason Pierre-Paul fits in that edge rotation for them. But if I look at these top 4 teams, ranking them right now, I'll still go Kansas City top. I'll go Ravens 2. I'll go Jaguars 3, and I will go Dolphins 4 right now as we sit here right after Thanksgiving.
It's going to be a lot of fun, no question about it, over the next 6 weeks of the NFL regular season. Ryan Fowler does a terrific job for Bleacher Report. He's one of our guys here on 1010XL. Ryan, we appreciate the time. Know you're busy, brother. Thank you as always, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much as always, Ryan.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com. It's a primetime showdown you don't want to miss when your Jaguars take on the Bengals. This highly anticipated Monday night matchup is also our My Cause, My Cleats game, when your favorite players get to champion causes close to their hearts by wearing custom-designed cleats. Plus, don't forget to wear your darkest gear to help us black out the stands and defend the bank. A limited number of seats do remain, so head to Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Rollin' Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
John, I'm so glad I called Clearwater to get my sprinklers, yard drainage, and seamless gutters in tip-top shape.
Thanks, Frank. It's great to see you so relaxed here at the house, away from the microphone.
Yeah, John, just hanging.
All right, well, let me go ahead and turn the sprinklers on and show you how everything works.
Wow, look at that coverage. How good is that?
All right, Frank, let's go!
Clearwater Irrigation
and Drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com.
David here with Royal Pest Services. The cool down is coming, and with that comes the pesky rodent. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a complimentary roof and attic inspection to check for access points and any evidence of previous activity. Now offering military and first responder discounts.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for QC Kinetics. Look, are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? Joint pain doesn't just keep you from doing what you love, it affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed, it's time to call QC Kinetics. They've got 2 great locations here, Mandarin and Ponte Vedra. And look, you can get in. They have appointments available right now. This week, call them at 904-274-5522. You got to give them a chance. Hips, shoulders, elbows, they can treat everything with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn more about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments. Again, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics.
Need cash and have surfboards, guitars, power tools, or sports equipment? Come sell to Chuck and get top dollar. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Life's expensive. Free yourself from unused items at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball has cooler promotions, but some people call them ice chests. Either way, check out the items you can put your company logo on at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has become an attractive destination for golfers all over North Florida. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that'll test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time today at hiddenhillsgc.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon to benefit local children with cancer. 1010XL 92.5 FM. You can help us be there for these wonderful kids and their families. Please call now.
Call 207-7070.
Thank you for your support.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Well, the Florida Gators season has officially come to an end. 5-7 on the year. Billy Napier now sits at 11-14 through 25 games, and there are certainly a lot of questions as we look into the future. With that, we welcome in my friend Graham Hall, 247sports.com. He does a terrific job covering the Florida Gators down in Gainesville, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Graham, how you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Ryan. Hope everyone else is doing well out there. Pretty disappointing end of the season for the Florida Gators. Just further disappointment as the Gators drop another game that they were leading that looked like a winnable game, especially late there with a FSU team that was missing its star quarterback in Jordan Travis. But Florida once again could not get it done, and nothing now really to look forward to over the next month outside of the recruiting class with Florida missing bowl eligibility, Ryan.
Graham, I tweeted out on Saturday night, don't be thankful that it happened. Be thankful that it's over. To me, that was the motto of the 2023 Florida Gators here over the last couple of weeks. Just a bad 5-game stretch after 5-2. And what was frustrating to me, Graham, is, look, you lose to Florida State. All right. We hear about culture, right? Building the culture. And I got guys hocking loogies in people's faces and getting ejected. I got a guy throwing his coach's hand off his shoulder who's trying to restrain him. I got 2 guys trying to kill an opposing quarterback, sliding down 5 yards shy of a first down. I mean, that was a cluster you-know-what Saturday night, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple incidents, I think, with Lyons and with Eugene Wilson, I think you're seeing a culmination of the youth right there with 2 young guys who are so accustomed to winning at the high school level. And then you get to a program that, has high expectations, but continues to find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. And when that frustration can build up, I think you can see it boil over a little bit in that form for young players. Lyons makes sense to me. Eugene Wilson, I mean, that's just a guy who wants to compete. I don't think that Florida's coaching staff, David Doker, is going to have any issue with him long term because of that. That's just a guy who wants to compete. And about the final, one you just talked about with Jaden Hill and another young guy coming in there trying to make a tackle on the quarterback. I totally understand why that is just seen as something you cannot do. they're going to protect quarterbacks right now, regardless of whether it's college or the professional level. And you just can't do that in that situation. I understand the competitive effort. Absolutely. That aspect is certainly something to account for, but that's an unfortunate mistake. I see why some people would say it's a lack of discipline. It's unable to perform in the moment, as Florida just did, a week ago in Missouri on that 4th and 17 play. It's certainly, I can understand why people would think it's a lack of discipline. I think it's a combination of several factors, certainly.
Graham Hall, 247sports.com, covering the Florida Gators. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Graham, people are not happy with Billy Napier. Look, I've said all along, you and I have had this talk, he deserves a minimum of 3 years on the field. Having said that, I don't think there's any doubt that coming into this offseason, he might be on the hottest seat in the SEC, if not one of the hottest seats in the country, because 11-14, and the problem, Graham, is they did not seem to get better as the year went on. They seemed to get worse, which is where people are really struggling with this team.
I think that absolutely the level of competition increased down the stretch. You talked about, playing LSU, FSU, Georgia. Those are games, and even Missouri as the season progressed, those were games that it became clear that Florida was going to have a tough time winning those games. And they were, outside of really late the LSU game, they were close games. And in the Georgia game, of course, too, the losing to, I think, formidable foes and the way that they happen, the context, some of the play calling, the personnel usage decisions, whatever you want to call it, that is also what has led to some of the criticism. You've seen scripted drives that have looked really good early on, and then the Gators have kind of gone away from some of their weapons, whether it's Eugene Wilson, Ricky Pearsall. That has led to some of the frustration from the fan base as well, when you have two guys who are clearly dynamic talents in the pass-catching game. Losing Graham Mertz obviously was, I think, a blow to this team's, the outlook for the FSU game, especially because that was an offense that had improved down the stretch, but defensively it did look like they were failing to step up to the level of competition that they were facing throughout the remainder of the regular season. And certainly a lot of that's going to come down to the personnel. Florida has really pushed the narrative that there's a high amount of freshmen they're playing, and that is certainly true. And they have a defensive coordinator that has been here less than a year. He's a young guy as well. And I think it's, fair to really criticize him in terms of job status this early, given what he was undertaking, his arrival, and every other factor I just talked about. So, but in terms of the hot seat, I do agree with you. I mean, they're facing one of the hardest schedules in the entire nation next year. 11 Power 5 teams. They're playing really everybody in the state of Florida and playing Texas A&M. It absolutely is a grueling schedule next year, and a coach that is going to be on the hot seat. I wrote about this on Sunday morning. It makes the upcoming months, really the next 3 weeks, extremely critical for the Gators. They got to hold the recruiting class together, maybe even add some pieces to it over the couple, 3 weeks here before early signing day on December 20th. And we'll see what staff changes do have happen in the next 2 months, maybe even into February again. But it is if they do not perform well on the field, if they start off in a similar fashion or drop some early games, this could be a situation where Florida may look to move on from Billy Napier midway through year 3. I do want to say, I think that there are some other factors here at play with the athletic department and how long Billy Napier's leash may be, how much time he does get, because I think that they are willing to be patient with him, given not wanting to maybe pay another buyout on top of, Dan Mullins there as well. That is certainly a factor in my mind. And you don't often get 3 chances. That's what people say, to make another hire if the first 2 don't pan out. So that is, I think, some of the context around this whole thing, where I do see a situation where even if Florida goes 6-6, 7-5 next year, that Billy Napier does get year 4. You look around at programs like Missouri, and Billy Napier was quick to point this out during his press conference, that Eli Drinkwitz, look at how they're performing in year 4. Obviously, FSU is another comparison that people can make. There is a benefit to giving coaches more time, absolutely, to build this thing into a contender rather than blowing the whole thing up in the midway through year 3 before you ever have a chance to reap the rewards. I think that certainly is an argument to make here as well. So I'm not totally in the camp that believes, even if Florida has a similar finish next year with that grueling schedule, that Billy Napier is out in Gainesville. I just want to make that clear.
Graham Hall, 247sports.com. All right, Graham, I'm going to throw a lot at you. Let's go rapid fire. The transfer portal. Florida's got to get in there more so than they have in the last couple of years, correct?
I think that's fair. I think that they're going to have to move a little bit quicker in the transfer portal. I think that last year they have made some key additions, getting Cam Jackson, Caleb Banks, but you need more of those. You obviously, in retrospect, the addition of Graham Mertz was a really, really wise one that they made. And I do think when you go down the list of the transfers Florida added, that, half of those guys were able to contribute as starters or primary guys in the rotation. Micah Mazuka, go down the list. So they just need more of those next season, because you need guys who are going to be ready to play right now.
Do you expect Graham Mertz to be the starting quarterback at the University of Florida in 2024?
I do. I think that it would absolutely benefit him to return. I think that he is the best, maybe transition quarterback to not having to throw DJ Lagway into the fire right away as a freshman. I don't know what happens with Max Brown and Jack Miller, and Michael Leon, who was Florida's backup quarterback on Saturday against the Seminoles, is out of eligibility. So I do see this as Florida would absolutely benefit to get Graham Mertz back, and it sounds like he's obviously going to be healthy by February, barring any setbacks in his recovery. So he gives Florida the best chance to contend with that grueling schedule next season, rather than throwing DJ Lagway in there to give him some time to learn and eventually take over the offense after Mertz concludes his collegiate career.
Graham Hall, 247sports.com. The first signing day is less than a month away. We know Florida's had about 3 or 4 decommitments in the last week or two. Does the rest of the signing class hold? Do they add anybody at the 11th hour? Do you expect them to be able to finish with that top 5 class somewhat intact?
I think they will add a couple to the class here in the next 3 weeks. I think that certainly is a possibility. With the portal opening in the next week, there are going to be spots that are going to be taken by early portal guys that you want to go after. I think that is a factor that is going to account for some decisions that are made by this recruiting staff at Florida. That is certainly a factor. They are going to have to, I think, sell that to recruits as well, that the longer some guys wait, the less of a chance of getting in. And I also think that there will be some, maybe not with Florida per se, but there are some that they're looking at who may choose to sign early, not announce it, and then announce it at one of the All-Star games, like the All-American Bowl in the first week of January. That is always something that happens. So I do think that the class is going to grow, but to answer the other part of your question, I do think that they are still in danger of losing some players in that class. You look at Amaris Williams. Ohio State has pursued him heavily. It looks like Adarius Hayes is still fully locked in with Florida, even though other programs like Miami have continued to pursue him. This is a class that they're going to have to try and keep a few of these guys still locked in for the next 3 weeks here, and also look to add to their numbers as well. So one of the benefits, I said this to someone, of being in need of rebuilding your team so aggressively, the way that the Gators are going to have to do is that you're not dealing with these bowl practices as well. You can fully go in on transfer portal evaluations, on the recruiting trail for the next 3 weeks, rather than preparing your team for a bowl game. Well, obviously you want to get those bowl game practices. Guys are still going to be working out in Gainesville. They can do so at the facility rather than preparing for an opponent. And now the coaching staff is more free to go out on Mondays, on Fridays, and recruit and evaluate and spend more time doing that. And it gives you more chance of reloading your class. So that's absolutely one of the benefits of missing out on a bowl game.
As far as the transfer portal, Graham, and we got about 90 seconds to go here. We talk about guys that are coming in, guys Florida needs to go get. Do you have any concern, whether it's Trevor Etienne, whether it's Eugene Wilson, any of the stars on the Gator team might look for greener pastures elsewhere and enter the portal themselves?
I can't say I really have any concern, but that's the reality we live in, right? I mean, there are SEC programs that over the next 3 months are going to be trying to poach players from other SEC programs. The Gators have added, obviously, from Alabama in the form of Damian George. They went and got Jalen Kimber from Georgia a couple years ago. This is just the world we live in. And, in this NIL era, on top of being able to sell, competing for, some hardware, being able to compete for a championship, that is a factor that you combine those two and make it retention the most important part of NIL. If you ask me, I think people all the time are saying, well, it's used to go out and get players. Well, if you're a top powerhouse, you need even more NIL resources sometimes to incentivize, well, obviously not directly linking them, of course, incentivize guys returning to your program because they're seeing and hearing about what other guys are getting elsewhere. And if a coach comes calling for you, that is absolutely a part of the conversation now. So keeping guys like Eugene Wilson, Trevor Etienne, a few other guys I think you could say on the roster, Shamar James is one that you obviously want to make sure that you can bring him back as well. That is certainly a huge factor of Florida's rebuilding plan.
As far as anybody going pro, I guess Jason Marshall, Montrell Johnson, you had any early indications on any of those guys that may leave after year 3?
I think that you just nailed, Jason Marshall is absolutely one that I figure will end up going pro. I know that his stock may have taken a hit this season a little bit. People were considering him to be a first-round pick potentially, but I still think he will end up going pro and have a successful pro career. He should test well. Obviously, Ricky Pearsall, out of eligibility, he'll be in the NFL for sure. The one that I'm really interested in is Princely Umanmielen. I think that he's someone who, based on his pass rush win rate and just the way he performed this season in a new position, new scheme, that he's someone who's going to get a chance in the NFL, and I think that he may consider it.
All right, Graham, leave us with this. The Gator football season in the rearview mirror. Gator basketball, another 4-2. It doesn't look great on paper, but I like these guys, man. They're big. They got a lot of depth. Gator basketball should be fun this year with Todd Golden.
They do look impressive already. That was a huge win over Florida State. They obviously look really, really good at home and have played some tough neutral site opponents. That's a Baylor team that is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation. They're going to be in the national conversation as they have been for the last couple of years there with Scott Drew. That's not really a bad loss in my mind, considering you had Micah Handlogden out of that game after dealing with that ankle injury. Walter Clayton, who had 28 points over Pittsburgh on Wednesday night, was dealing with an illness. So he wasn't at his best, was kind of a little bit off the mark from shooting and, just obviously looked a little fatigued. So this is a situation where I think this team, when healthy, is really, really good. And that's the key. I've said this, they have to stay healthy and keep all these guys on the floor, because when they are healthy, this is a really deep team that could be a 20-win team and fare well in the top 6-7 of the SEC and make a tournament run if they all stay together and play the way that they're playing right now.
Graham Hall, 247sports.com. Billy Napier needs to take a lesson in the transfer portal from Todd Golden. It looks like he's done a good job there, and I agree with wins over Florida State and Pitt already. Gator basketball certainly looks like they're going to be better than they were a year ago. Graham, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time, as always. We'll do it again right around signing day.
My pleasure. You take care out there, Ryan.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Listen up. This weekend, you'll immediately, why can I say immediately? Come see I can't say that line. And a lifetime... Beaver's still... I've not lost it. We know we aren't perfect, but we try every day to do our very best to provide the wow experience you deserve, and we're so grateful for all our amazing customers. Visit us at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville to see just how much we appreciate you.
Looking for the perfect stocking